Good afternoon, I'm Charles Lejano. This is One News Now. The government continues to ramp up efforts to negotiate for the supply of an effective COVID-19 vaccine once available. For the details, Greg Gregorio reports to us live from Mandaluyong. Greg, what's the latest on the COVID-19 vaccine?
Charles, the Health Department admits that there is a slow progress in our negotiations for COVID-19 vaccines. However, the Food and Drug Administration is optimistic that a candidate vaccine may be approved as early as April next year. The Philippines is currently under engagement with 17 bilateral partners for COVID-19 vaccine development, 6 of which have already signed Confidentiality Data Agreement or CDA as part of negotiations for trial, possible local manufacturing, or for procurement alone. Among those is Russia's Sputnik 5, which is set for clinical trial phase 3 and local manufacturing in the country. But the Science and Technology Department noted that its process is still pending. Secretary Fortunato de la Peña said Sputnik's manufacturer Gamaleya have not yet answered the query sent by the country's vaccine experts panel earlier this month. Other COVID-19 vaccine candidates, meanwhile, are still at an early stage of negotiation. Even the World Health Organization Solidarity trial in the country has been moved to December or could possibly be started by December. Recall that any manufacturer of vaccine has to secure recommendation first from the DOST's vaccine experts panel. It then undergoes a separate ethics review before an application is officially filed to the FDA, which regulates the conduct of any trial in the country. Health Undersecretary Maria Rosario Vergere admitted that procedures are taking some time to ensure the public's safety. With this, De La Peña said that the second quarter of 2021 remains to be the earliest forecast for when a vaccine may be approved. But for FDA Director General Eric Domingo, there is still a possibility that one will be approved by April 2021. In a statement, Domingo said this could be achieved if ongoing clinical trial phase 3 outside the country will be completed by December or January, with applications filed to the FDA immediately. Charles de la Peña said an 89.1 million peso budget has been allocated for our participation in the World Health Organization's Solidarity Trial, and they are releasing it to UPPGH, that is our main implementer for this undertaking. This will be conducted in 12 hospitals in 8 zones in NCR, Calabarzon, Cebu, and Davao. The IATF, for its part, has approved the zoning guidelines for our participation in this global effort. Charles?
Thank you. Greg Gregorio reporting live from Mandaluyong. The National Task Force Against COVID-19 continues to visit localities to assess their COVID-19 response efforts. For the latest, Romel Lopez is reporting to us live from the city of Manila. Romel, where did the task force swing by this time?
Yes, Charles, officials of the National Task Force Against COVID-19 visited Taguig City this morning to inspect their 500-bed mega quarantine facility. Health Secretary Francisco Duque III commended the new facility, saying it should serve as a model to other local governments. Also present was NTF Chief Implementer Carlito Galvez Jr., who also praised the LGU for its COVID-19 game plan. Galvez said they see a spike in COVID-19 cases in some areas under modified GCQ, especially now that home quarantine is being discouraged. The task force reiterated that it will only allow, or they will only be allowed to do this in some provinces with houses that are far apart from each other. There are also exemptions, such as breastfeeding mothers and those with comorbidities that may pose danger in the quarantine facility. Officials said only 60% of the country's 120,000 bed quarantine centers are being utilized. When asked about the possible extension of the GCQ in the National Capital Region, the task force could not give a definitive answer yet. This as the Metro Manila Council has yet to meet on the new quarantine classifications over the weekend. But Interior Secretary Eduardo Año disclosed that most of the mayors are in favor of extending the GCQ status. Charles, aside from the mega quarantine facility, Taguig has also opened its own COVID-19 laboratory that can carry out 600 individual swab tests daily. The city has joined Marikina and Valenzuela as the only LGUs in the metro with such facility. Charles?
Right, Romel Lopez reporting live from the city of Manila. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the country inches closer to the 300,000 mark. The health department logged over 2,000 new infections on Friday, of which over 61,700 are active. The DOH also reported 69 deaths today, pushing the toll to nearly 5,200. Nearly 500 people recovered from the virus over the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of survivors to 232,000. We'll have more stories after a quick break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. The Education Department is asking Congress for a more sizable budget, less than 2 weeks before the school year kicks off. To give us details, Mean Los Baños is joining us live from Pasig. Mean, how much exactly did the DepEd ask for?
Charles, the Department of Education is asking for a 606 billion peso budget for 2021. This is school's transition to blended learning system next year. During today's budget hearing, DepEd Secretary Leonor Briones said they're also in talks about the shift to new normal in schools. For one, she said classrooms and school buildings will have to be redesigned to ensure safety among students and teachers. Senator Win Gatchalian asked for the restoration of 300 million budget for DepEd Special Education Program or SPED. He said the funds would be used for the procurement of hearing aids, braille, and other materials for learners with special needs. Meanwhile, the education chief reported that as of Friday morning, Charles, a total of 24.6 million students have enrolled. Enrollment rate in public schools have reached 99% with 22.4 million enrollees, but the same cannot be said for private schools, which currently have 2.1 million learners. Briones assured lawmakers that it is not the final tally yet, as late enrollees will be accepted. Yes, Charles?
All right, thanks, Mean. Since we're talking about 2022 elections already, does the DepEd have any updates on the role that teachers will play in manning polling stations?
Actually, Charles, Senator Sonny Angara asked Secretary Briones if there will be enough manpower, enough teachers to help in the voting if the COMELEC will push through with its plans to extend the voting hours or make it 2 to 3 days. And Secretary Briones responded that there is no problem with the willingness of teachers to volunteer and help in the election or in the electoral process or voting days, but they have to make sure that the teachers are protected and complying with the safety standards under the DOH to make sure that the teachers will not get sick or be infected if ever COVID-19 will still be present in 2022 elections. Charles?
Yeah, hopefully not then. Thanks for that, Mean. That was Mean Los Baños reporting live from Pasig City.
Thank you.
Malacanang opposes the proposal to postpone the 2022 elections. Palace spokesperson Harry Roque described the upcoming polls as a public service that the government must ensure to deliver. He added that postponing the elections will lead to constitutional challenges. Pampanga Representative Mikey Arroyo made the proposal, citing the threat of the COVID-19 pandemic. Some senators are also against this idea. Senate President Tito Soto said the suggestion poses a number of constitutional issues, as the tenure of elected officials is fixed. Senator Panfilo Lacson agrees, adding that any discussion on the proposal is futile or a waste of time and energy. Also opposing the idea is Senate Minority Leader Franklin Drilon, who said it could give way to the main objective, extending the term of elected officials. For Senator Kiko Pangilinan, there are various ways to proceed with the poll. such as dedicating several days to avoid crowding among voters. Senator Amy Marcos also rejected the proposed postponement, citing other countries, such as South Korea, that were able to conduct elections despite the COVID-19 pandemic. Airlines are assuring travelers that the necessary health and safety protocols are in place as they expect a surge in passengers with the reopening of Boracay. Gerard de la Peña has the rest of the story.
Airports may soon see more passengers as the popular beach destination Boracay reopens to tourists come October. Budget carrier AirAsia assured the public that strict health protocols are in place.
Importante na yung safety pa rin ay in place. So we are still waiting dun sa final guidelines na ilalabas ng local government unit para nang sa ganun mas mag-boost pa namin yung aming campaign dun sa pagsuporta namin sa reopening ng Boracay.
Flag carrier Philippine Airlines said it is ready to mount flights to Calibo and Caticlan as soon as the government allows leisure trips. For its part, Cebu Pacific hopes more Filipinos will start traveling again. The airlines acknowledged that reopening the flights to Calibo and Caticlan would help them bounce back from their losses due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Each major local airline ruled out 2 to 7 flights per day to and from these popular tourist destinations before the pandemic. Meanwhile, they are appealing to the public for understanding as they scramble to refund passengers whose flights have been cancelled since March. For News 5, Gerard de la Peña, we are One News.
Good news for basketball fans is the Basis Conversion and Development Authority, or BCDA, guarantees the safety of PBA players as the IAPF greenlights the so-called PBA bubble. In an interview with One News' Agenda, BCDA President and CEO Vince Dizon said strict safety protocols will be in place. Regular swab tests will also be conducted on players as well as staff. The IAPF on Thursday officially approved the bubble plan, which will be held in Clark, Pampanga. PBA games will begin on October 11.
Is we benchmark the most successful sports bubbles in the world. Binenchmark po natin ang NBA, ang Major League Soccer sa US, ang National Hockey League, at ang National Football League. Ang mga protocols po nila, yun po ang mga gagamitin natin at para po masigurado.
For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for in-depth analysis. And you can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Just register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. We are One News.